32,000 women left the job force in July without an ability to return. Meanwhile, 9,000 men gained jobs in July. This is pathological, systematic oppression and by design.
Another day, another insane conspiracy theory spreading like wildfire on TikTok. Hey guys, welcome back to the show, your home for independent and nonpartisan commentary and analysis on politics, media, internet insanity, and more. This one's going to be in that latter category because there is a crazy new doomsday narrative going around on TikTok, particularly among, I guess they would call themselves like feminist content creators, warning about new data that suggests the impending start of The Handmaid's Tale, only, as is so often the case when influencers talk about official statistics and data, they have this story exactly wrong and have no idea what they are talking about. First, I'm going to show you a video from a hysterical woman on TikTok who hundreds of thousands of people have seen this video and tens of thousands of people have liked it and gobbled it up like just Kool-Aid that they're just drinking, totally panicking and raising a false alarm over employment statistics that she completely misunderstands. Let's watch.
Ladies and gentlemen who care, sound the alarm. 100% of jobs lost in July were women. Hear me. 23,000 jobs were lost in the United States in July. 100% of them were women. 0 men lost their jobs. It's worse than that. Not only does this administration underreport or not report, so the reality is worse than that. Here's another stat that is valid. 32,000 women left the job force with no ability to return. Multitude of reasons, but you're looking at overworked, underpaid, and actually they cannot afford to work because things like child care are too expensive. 32,000 women left the job force in July without an ability to return. Meanwhile, 9,000 men gained jobs in July. This is pathological, systematic oppression and abuse by design. Women and children do not have the ability to leave if they cannot afford to. This is a big deal.
I'm sorry to laugh at this because obviously some of the things she's saying are quite serious, but like it's the absurdity of it all. She's taking in a random month's worth of data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that's actually incredibly unremarkable and not at all unusual, and claiming it's some sort of sinister plot or evidence of widespread oppression. Anyway, I'll read you a few of the comments that she liked as well. She agrees with all of these comments. Quote, "They want us to need them again." Another one, "The Handmaid's Tale." Another, "All of this is in Project 2025. Last one here. "Black women were the canary in the coal mine, ... Oh my gosh, they need to read another book. Like just any other book. Can we just read one other book? I'm so sick and tired of the Handmaid's Tale references, which are almost never real or appropriate. But I want to talk about what the actual claims and data being referenced here. So the main statistic is that there are 32,000 net job losses among women. Now, this woman apparently doesn't know what the word net means. So, for example, because there are 9,000 net job increases among men in July, she's saying no men lost their job. No. These are net statistics. So what that means is that if 19,000 men got jobs and 10,000 men lost jobs, then you have a 9,000 net employment gain among men. So that's what those numbers mean. So when she starts rambling about how no men lost jobs and only women lost jobs, that's totally incorrect. That's totally wrong. She doesn't understand these statistics she is using to spin a doomsday narrative. Shocker. Anyway, the other thing is, women on net losing 32,000 jobs in a particular month is like barely a blip in a line. I mean, that's out of approximately 77 million women who have jobs. That's a tiny, tiny fraction of a percentage. And it's true that in the particular month of July, there were more net job losses among women and there was a net job gain among men. But these are pretty tiny and marginal differences here, not evidence of some sinister plot by the Trump administration to hound women out of the workforce. And I want to also bring up another point. Can anyone think of a reason that's not actually at all nefarious and is completely predictable that women might drop out of the labor force at a slightly higher percentage in July? Oh, it's almost like kids are out of school. And so some women step away from jobs to be home with the kids. It's like that's actually probably the explanation for this extremely minor statistical shift that they are now warping into some sort of Handmaid's Tale dystopian revelation. It's genuinely psychotic stuff. Like, it's psychosis, this kind of thing. You see it all over the internet where people distort things and confuse things and make the most mountains out of molehills about things that are utterly inconsequential, citing things that often have a grain of truth. Like, these are real numbers she's citing, but she doesn't know what they mean, and she has no context for them. If you or your child spent years growing up on social media and experienced serious mental health issues, you should hear this. Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in designing and promoting addictive platforms. They knew their apps could contribute to anxiety, depression, and body image issues, but did not share those risks while prioritizing profits. The recent historic verdict underscores the consequences of those decisions. Now, Morgan & Morgan is stepping up to hold these platforms accountable for the harm they caused. Click the link in my bio to take a short quiz, as you may be entitled to a potential recovery of over $1,000. Now back to the show. Even the notion that, like, oh, well, a net job gain among men, and then a net loss among women is somehow suspicious isn't true. That just varies. There have been 12-month spans over which men have lost more jobs and women have gained more jobs. That wasn't proof that very recently that was the case. That's not proof that men are, like, being systematically oppressed or anything like that. It just fluctuates. It's just variable. It's really, none of this is at all substantiated. But to this crazy lady's credit, she's actually not, like, I mean, I'm sure she saw this from some activist group or something, but this is being perpetuated, this kind of rhetoric, at higher levels by ostensibly more serious institutions, like the Democratic Women's Caucus, which represents all of the women in Congress. I think it's just the Democratic women, of course. They wrote in a tweet, women accounted for 100% of the decline in the labor force in July. That makes it 845,000 women who have lost the workforce this year in comparison to the 406,000 men. Trump and Republicans are not supporting working women, and the data proves it. Now, what's so interesting about this is that, like, they would never post this in the months or timeframes where the opposite is true. And again, these are pretty minor statistics relative to the overall working populations of both men and women. But like, I think the single-digit percentage shifts we're talking about, not seismic shifts. And they of course don't bother to explain how it's Trump's fault or anything like that. That's just blindly asserted. But then the other piece of this is that in the months where men account for 100% of the decline on net, are they going to put out a post and raise the alarm about it? No, they just ignore that and then only raise these data on these months where it happens to lean a certain way. It's just a totally disingenuous and alarmist approach to analyzing stuff. And it's one thing when it's a random schizo lady on TikTok, though it is harmful that you have so many thousands of people eating this up and actually becoming so deluded they start thinking this is the proof of the Handmaid's Tale or something. But it's another when it comes from ostensibly serious political organizations like the Democratic Women's Caucus. It is not to say that that's really a serious organization. Clearly it's not, but you would expect slightly better from them than from a random woman in woke psychosis on the Clock app on TikTok. And she, unfortunately, this woman, people tried to explain to her how she was wrong in the comments because she was literally claiming that no men lost jobs. And people were like, that's obviously not true. I know men that lost jobs in July, because she has no idea what a net figure is. That's apparently a mystery that eludes her understanding. And she then decided that the proof of that's actually proof that it's all fake and some part of some dystopian conspiracy or something. I don't know. Let's watch.
Correct. Part of why I reported it the way I did, as well as provided the source, is that they are revealing that no men lost their job, and that can't actually statistically be accurate, but that's what they're revealing in their data. So when you look at data or things that are being coerced, it's all intentional for the pathological storyline. So if all the trends show like Black women are losing all their jobs, and now all women, all races and all cultures and ethnicities are losing their jobs, but no men are losing their jobs, they're gaining jobs. Doesn't that feed this pathological patriarchal dictatorship that is in charge? Everyone should be looking at these stats as incredibly alarming.
Even though they're not, if you actually understand them. I love this. People are pointing out to her obvious mistake, that she doesn't know what these numbers mean and she misread them. And instead, she doubles down on her original interpretation, which is wrong, that that these statistics say men lost 0 jobs, when that's not what they say. They say that they lost 0 jobs on net, meaning thousands of men did lose their jobs, but more on overall gained jobs. So that it was a net positive. She misinterpreted that statistic. Then when people pointed out that her misinterpretation can't possibly be true, that's proof that actually the government is putting out false statistics as part of a dictatorship. How does one reason with someone like this? How do we help people this deep in psychosis? And obviously, this is just one example, but you can find it on the right side direction or among Republican people, all sorts of crazy conspiracy theories. We went over one about vaccines the other day on this channel. It's like, I don't know how you can reach people or help them come back from this. And then really the most disturbing thing to me is the audiences that fall for it, because there's always going to be crazies out there. And in the modern era, they have access to microphones and cameras like they never have before. But really, when I see stories like this actually gain traction among a significant number of people, what I'm more concerned by than anything else is the lack of critical thinking and awareness of people who are coming across this and falling for it. Shouldn't they have thought something's not adding up? The math's not mathing here. They could. The other thing too is that in the age of chatbots, you could literally just put this into any ChatGPT, any Grok, or anything, and ask, "Is this correct?" And it will tell you no. It has literally never been easier to fact check things in the history of human existence than it is today. And yet people still constantly fall for obviously fake shit from obviously crazy people. And they spin it all up and get everyone riled up. And it's dystopia. It's Handmaid's Tale. By the way, please read another book. Please. Any other book. I'm tired of it. But it really is a sign of the times that people continue to fall for things, even though we have never had it easier in terms of fact-checking stuff. You don't have to Google anymore. You can put it in a chatbot that will obviously that you shouldn't just be blindly trusting everything your chat says, and you should be verifying stuff, but on like basic matters of what a statistic means or not, it's going to give you a correct answer. And yet people are still falling for this stuff. It's really demoralizing and depressing. But I wanted to clear it up for y'all. And just another entry in the long-running series of TikTok psychosis that we cover on this channel. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure subscribed. Do go check out that Morgan & Morgan survey if you haven't yet. That would really help me out. And we'll be back with more real soon.